Hello and welcome to the Annual Meeting of Shareholders of Magellan Aerospace Corporation. Please note that today's meeting is being recorded. If you participate in today's meeting and disclose personal information, you'll be deemed to consent to the recording, transfer, and use of the same. If you disclose personal information of another person in today's meeting, you'll be deemed to represent and warrant to Computershare and the corporation that you first obtained all required consents for the disclosure, recording, transfer, and use of such personal information from all appropriate persons before your disclosure. During the meeting, we will have a question and answer session. Shareholders can submit questions or comments at any time by clicking on the Q&A tab. It is now my pleasure to turn today's meeting over to Murray Edwards, Chairman. Mr. Edwards, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Murray Edwards, and as Chairman of Magellan Aerospace, I'd like to welcome you to our 2026 annual meeting. The meeting will now come to order. I will ask Alan Melanoni, Corporate Secretary of the Corporation, as the Secretary of the meeting, and Josette Poffenberg, Representative of Computershare, Investor Service Scrutineer. In order to ensure that formal business proceeds efficiently, we have asked certain employee shareholders to make and second motions. This is designated to facilitate the progression of the meeting and is not intended to discourage comments. The meeting has certain forward-looking statements, and as such, before we begin, we'd like to remind everyone that in our remarks today, we'll make statements about information that are not historical factual information. This information may be considered to be forward-looking information. Statements about forward-looking information are, by their very nature, not guarantees of Magellan's future operation or financial performance, are subject to risks and uncertainties. Actual results could differ materially from what is currently expected. While Magellan Aerospace believes expectations are reasonable, they are based on risks and assumptions regarding a number of factors. Details regarding these risks, these assumptions and factors, as well as information about the material factors, risks, and assumptions that could cause our actual results to differ materially from what is currently expected can be found in Magellan's annual information form, which is available on SEDAR+ website. Magellan does not assume any obligation to update or revise any forward-looking information except in accordance with applicable securities law. The next item is procedural matters. We have a couple of quick housekeeping points. The business matters to be conducted at this meeting are the items set forth in the notice of meeting and the management proxy declaration of the corporation, both dated March 17th, 2026, that was mailed, emailed, or otherwise made available to shareholders. Only shareholders as of the close of business on March 17th, 2026, the record date, or their duly appointed proxy holders are entitled to submit questions and vote at this meeting. All questions submitted relating to an item of business to be voted on in the meeting will be accepted by the Secretary, and then she will forward them to us for review. Any such questions will be answered at the time the item is presented for discussion. In addition, at the conclusion of the formal meeting, Mr. Phil Underwood, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Corporation, will make a short presentation on Magellan's 2025 fiscal year and plans for the future. Next, notice of meeting. We received an affidavit from Computershare Investor Services as to mailing of the notice and access document and the information of proxy to shareholders. We direct this affidavit, together with copies of the documents mailed to shareholders, be kept by the Secretary with the minutes of this meeting. In terms of the quorum for the meeting, under the bylaws of the corporation, business may be transacted in this meeting if two persons are present at the meeting and hold or represent by proxy no less than 10% of the total number of issued shares of the corporation to entitle to vote at the meeting. The scrutineer has confirmed that a quorum is present for the meeting. Scrutineer report shows there are 61 proxies cast for shareholders representing or holding by proxy 49,133,374 shares, or 86.08% of the shares which are entitled to be voted present at the meeting. The scrutineer report will be kept with the records of this meeting. Accordingly, there is quorum of shareholders present. I now declare the meeting is regularly called and properly constituted for the transaction of business. For the transaction of business, all voting today will be conducted by way of a poll over the internet. We hereby declare polling open and will remain open until the last item of business of the meeting has been completed. You may vote by clicking the Vote tab and selecting your voting direction from the options shown. Your vote has been cast when the check mark appears. You do not need to vote at the meeting if you've already voted by telephone, internet, or mail. However, if you wish to change your vote, you have not previously voted, you may vote online during the meeting while the polls are open. Thank you to those that have voted prior to the meeting. Those votes will be tabulated along with today's votes, and the screen will provide us with a detailed breakdown of voting after the polling is closed. We will also post results on our website and at CDAR website also. The next item of business is the receipt of the 2025 consolidated financial statements as included in the 2025 annual report to the shareholders for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2025, and the audit report thereon. A copy of the annual report has been made available to each registered shareholder in either hard copy or electronically. The financial statements of the corporation for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2025 can be found on the corporation website or at the CDAR Plus website. We now place before the meeting the consolidated financial statements and the audit report thereon for the year ended December 31st, 2025. The next item of business is the election of directors. The board has fixed the number of directors at the meeting at 6. We will now entertain a motion for directors of the corporation. Entertain a motion for nomination for directors of the corporation. Do I have a motion in that regard?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Karen Yashiki-Graveltons, and I am a shareholder. I nominate N. Murray Edwards, Philip C. Underwood, Beth M. Bud Bandler, Larry G. Moeller, Stephen Somerville, James P. Veach as directors of the corporation to hold office until the next annual election of directors or until their successors are elected or appointed, subject to the provisions of the Business Corporations Act, Ontario, and the bylaws of the corporation.
Thank you, Karen. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Michael Grive, and I'm a shareholder. I second the nomination.
Thank you, Michael. Are there any further nominations? Also, Secretary, can you advise if there are any questions asked with respect to the nomination of directors? Elena?
Mr. Chairman, there have been no further questions in respect of the nominations of directors.
Thank you. As there are no further nominations, we now declare nominations closed for directors. The next item is the appointment of auditors. We have a motion in that regard.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the firm BDO Canada Chartered Professional Accountants be appointed auditors of the corporation until the next annual meeting or until their successor are appointed, and that their remuneration as such be fixed by the board of directors.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a seconder?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Karen. Could the secretary advise us if there are any questions asked in respect to the appointment of directors?
Mr. Chairman, there are no further questions in respect of the appointment of the auditors.
Seeing there are no questions, we will proceed with a vote. In terms of vote, again, remember that voting is only available for registered shareholders and duly appointed proxy holders using their code number and invite code on their proxy as the case may be. If you're eligible to vote, please do so now, as I will declare voting closed on the items within 1 minute. So we'll just have a 1 minute pause so people can submit their voting, Anna.
Correct.
Is the minute up yet, Anna?
Almost.
Almost, okay. Okay, thank you, Anna. The minute for voting has passed. That brings us to the end of voting on items to be voted upon. We've been advised by the scrutineers that the ballots and proxies deposited for the meeting are in favor of each of the resolutions submitted. Each of the nominees as directors of the corporation have been duly elected as directors of the corporation, and BDO Canada Chartered Professional Accountants has been appointed and the board of directors have been authorized to fix their remuneration. The directors and others of the corporation will hold their roles and positions until the next annual election or until their successors are elected or appointed pursuant to provisions of the Business Corporation Act Ontario and the bylaws of the corporation. I direct the scrutineer's report in respect to the voting be kept with the minutes of this meeting. Now, could the secretary advise me if there are any other questions in respect to the business of the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, there have been no further questions in respect to the business of the meeting.
As there are no questions, I now declare the meeting terminated. I will now pass the meeting over to Mr. Phil Underwood, who will provide a business update and presentation of Magellan, and we have some slides that will be on the screen to go through the presentation. So over to you, Phil. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Murray. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be presenting the business and strategic highlights for 2025 with Eleanor Milantoni, our Chief Financial Officer, presenting the financial summary. So starting with the business overview. So Magellan is a global business with 19 divisions and just under 4,000 employees worldwide, with 10 divisions in North America, 6 in Europe, and 3 divisions in India, including 1 joint venture. For this section, I'll provide an update on the commercial and defence market. So starting with the commercial aerospace market. Commercial air travel continues to grow in 2025. The International Air Transport Association, the IATA, reported that global travel grew by 5.3% in 2025. China and India experienced the largest domestic travel growth at 4.7% and 5.4% respectively. The IATA forecasts growth in 2026 to be around 4.9%. Airbus and Boeing both ended the year with strong order backlogs, with over 14,950 aircraft on order. However, supply chain delays and market disruptions continue to affect the industry's ability to capitalize on the pent-up demand. Boeing 737 was approved by the FAA to increase from rate 38 to rate 42 per month in late 2025, and Boeing target rate 47 mid-2026, the goal of reaching rate 57 per month in 2027. Airbus is ahead of Boeing with their single-aisle production. They plan to reach 68 A320s per month later this year and 75 per month late 2027. However, this target may move to the right, with Airbus citing engine delays from Pratt & Whitney. Whilst the industry is stabilising and improving with 5% growth, the supply chain is exposed to continued risks, constraints, and significant current geopolitical risks. So moving to the defence market. So continued geopolitical tensions are driving increased demand in the defence aerospace market. The uncertainty relating to the US deglobalization and pullback of international defence support demands new strategies globally. Defence growth is hitting ever higher levels. NATO defence spending targets have moved from 2% of GDP to now a goal of 5% GDP, which includes at least 3.5% GDP on real military kit, with the remaining 1.5% GDP on supporting efforts to the military, such as infrastructure and industrial base investment. Within the defence market, fighter aircraft represent the largest segment, with the F-35 making up 40% of the total fighter demand in 2025. F-35 now has 1,300 aircraft in a worldwide fleet, with a record of 191 delivered. There is unprecedented investment in capacity expansion with the production of missiles and munitions across NATO. Due to the war in Ukraine and the US pullback, many programs are experiencing and forecasting 2 to 5 time increases in quantities over the next several years. Air defence and artillery lead the way, with cheaper missiles to defeat the rise of drones receiving increased focus. Space is becoming a contested domain. The role of the hypersonic munitions and counter-hypersonic munitions will also drive development in this sector. The proliferation of unmanned aircraft systems and drones on the battlefield has changed warfare yet again, Offensive and defensive tactics have shown the way to investment and the mass production required globally. Growth in the fighter market naturally drives an increase in demand for pilots, and therefore demand for trainer aircraft, which is projected to grow significantly. So in summary, the defence aircraft market is the strongest in decades, with growing segments in unmanned aircraft, trainer aircraft, missiles, and munitions. So now I'd like to provide an update on the progress on key contracts during 2025. So during the year, Magellan secured new contracts and renewed agreements totaling approximately 1.3 billion Canadian in 2025. The second year where Magellan has booked significantly more orders than deliveries. The long-term revenue sharing agreement with GE Aerospace has been revised to include the production of major components for the F414 DE400K aircraft engine for the Korean K-21 aircraft program. Magellan has extended contracts with Pratt & Whitney Canada for our core facility in India through to 2034. Magellan has also completed a contract renewal with GKN Aerospace for structural machining on a number of platforms through to 2030. A new machining work has been awarded to Magellan UK for the manufacture of long bed aluminium parts through to 2036. And Magellan has completed a contract renewal with Raytheon Technologies, continued production of brazed assemblies for several platforms through to 2029. The US government has awarded a contract to Magellan for the manufacture of booster motors for UAV applications through to 2031. And the Canadian government has extended the CF404 maintenance contract through to 2031. Advanced long lead material funding has been received to support the Chorus P space mission activities planned through to 2029. And new casting orders have been received for commercial magnesium castings on multiple platforms through to 2027. Also in 2026, we've announced that Magellan has been awarded a new contract for the production of rocket motors in support of the Canadian government's D&D requirements. So continuing with the business overview. So these charts show revenue by customer and market segments in 2025. On the left, you can see 33% of our revenue is directly with Airbus and Boeing, with Raytheon and GE accounting for another 22%. Top right, 53% of our business is in aerostructures, 26% aero engines, including repair and overhaul, 13% castings, and 8% specialty products. On the bottom right, you can see that 62% of our revenue is derived from the commercial business, and our defence business of 38% has increased from the prior year of 35%. And one of our key objectives is to build a more balanced portfolio with more defence work. So now I'm going to hand over to Eleanor to present the financial summary.
Thanks, Phil. I will now provide the financial highlights for 2025. So in 2025, our consolidated revenues for the year ended were just over $1 million at $1.045 billion. A 10.9% increase from the $942 million achieved last year. The corporation's revenues increased about 14.3% in Canada, 12.6% in the US, and 5.6% in Europe and India. The increase in revenues from 2025 was primarily attributed to the increase in our castings products, our propulsion products, and air engine and rotating engine parts, as well as some favorable foreign exchange. Gross profit of $145 million for the year ended December 31st, 2025, in comparison to the gross profit of $108 million in the prior year. The increase in profitability is mainly the result of volume increases, contract rehabilitations on certain programs, and a favorable product mix, offset in part by increases we've seen on materials and supplies. Our adjusted EBITDA increased $18.8 million, or 19%, to $117 million for the year ended in 2025. This was compared to 98 million in 2024, mainly as a result of our increased revenues, our follow-on of the gross margin improvement, offset by some foreign exchange movements. Moving on, we look at our overall working capital requirements. They have continued to rise in line with our business growth, although Magellan was able to reduce inventory levels slightly from December 2024 levels. The corporation continues to experience some supplier disruptions and longer lead times, which have resulted in maintaining higher levels of safety stock. Contract assets are a subset of inventory, recording the progress made on certain long-term contracts in the year. Decreases from 2024 represents a change in terms of one of our types of contracts, which have impacted the timing of billings of the work. Magellan's investment in capital in 2025 was 51 million, which was approximately 4.9% of revenues. Investing in new technology not only improves safety and lifespan, but it also can increase productivity and capacity in addition to cost reductions. Our shareholder return has shown a steady improvement over the last 2 years, with Magellan now in line with the TSX and S&P annual returns in 2026. That concludes the financial summary. Phil now will provide you with an update on our strategic highlights.
Thanks, Anna. Magellan will continue to position itself as a global strategic supplier for our customers, securing revenue and profit growth in selected markets. We will maintain a solid balance sheet to support our business goals, and we will continue to drive operational excellence in all our businesses, delivering to our commitments on time with 0 defects, investing in the latest technology and utilizing it in our Magellan operating system and SAP implementation tools. We continue to direct and focus resources on employment, engagement and development. Magellan will continue to provide information critical to our sustainability efforts and monitor ever-evolving climate-related risks. Magellan's business has recovered from industry challenges over the last few years, and today in front of us are a number of growth opportunities. Our customers are ramping up their build rates and asking us to take on additional new business, and delivery of these will provide and lead to better utilization of our facilities and improved business performance. Our existing contracts have now been rehabilitated, allowing us to focus on adapting our strategic growth to the changing marketplace. One specific area of growth is our sand castings business. With a lack of capacity globally and our proven expertise in this area, our customers are asking us to invest and grow with them to meet the demand. In response, we've expanded our US casting facility. An area where we are having ongoing discussions is with our government and defense customers. We are leveraging key assets in our portfolio. This includes our Rockwood propellant plant, which is a munitions supply program facility, and the Department of National Defence Centre of Excellence for rocket and motor production. Our depot-level maintenance facility for jet fighters and our trainer engines, and the legacy at our Mississauga site, where the Arrow was designed and built. In parallel to seizing the growth opportunities highlighted earlier, Magellan is focusing on margin improvement. We continue to invest and grow in India to meet both our customers' strategic needs and improve our profitability. As announced, we've signed MOUs with ACUS, our long-term joint venture partner in India, to explore and launch additional business in MRO and sand castings. SAP is now live at 5 of our divisions, and we now have an accelerated roadmap for all our sites. We are also investing in further automation in machining, welding and painting robotics. To improve the utilization of our facilities, we continuously seek opportunities to optimize how our factories operate. As an example, we are launching automated processing cells to more efficiently perform post-cast activities at our sand casting facilities. In summary, in 2025, revenue and profit continued to grow with a 102 million increase in revenue and a 37 million contribution to gross profit. Our strong balance sheet allows us to invest in existing and new programs. And within our operations, we continue to maintain a high standard of quality and improve delivery performance to meet our customers' expectations. In the year, we renewed and secured 1.3 billion Canadian of existing and new business. We also continue to see improved employee engagement through numerous initiatives at our divisions. And our ESG framework is in place, including the alignment of all our sites to ISO 45001 and certification of all our sites to ISO 14001. So looking forward, we continue to embed our MOS principles to improve efficiencies and drive operational excellence. And we will seek to balance our portfolio by capturing further defence opportunities. We'll also be delivering on major capital projects in 2026, including facility expansions, new technology, and our SAP implementation. And we've also just launched an employee survey to enhance our engagement program. And we'll continue to monitor evolving ESG standards, reporting requirements to strengthen our path to sustainability. So this year, Magellan Aerospace celebrates 30 years in business, and we've grown over the years through a number of strategic acquisitions and investments. Murray Edwards established Magellan Aerospace in 1996 and was chairman and CEO until 2003, and continues to lead the company as chairman of the board. Richard Neal led the company as president and CEO from 2003 to 2007. Jim Butinic then led the company as president and CEO from 2007 into 2015, and I took over from Jim as president and CEO in 2015. So today we believe Magellan is in a strong position to continue its growth and improvement. We have a team of approximately 4,000 people, and some of those individuals have been here to all of these events, if not a big part of them. So thank you to all of you. Our industry is one of constant change and disruptive challenges, and requires each of our leaders, employees to adapt and innovate to continue to deliver for our customers and our shareholders. So thank you for your continued support and confidence in our team. So this concludes our presentation. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all our stakeholders, customers and employees for the continued support and commitment to Magellan. So we will now review any questions that we've received via the portal and we'll attempt to answer them. Susan?
There's no questions at the moment.
Okay. But if there are no questions, then I will say stay safe and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes the meeting. You may now disconnect.